The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our Hallmark favourite actors and directors would rather forget that they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, inventor of the Square Pig and the Robothrob 3000, the mightiest synthetic dong in the known universe, it's James.
I'm going to have to try cranking it off.
Oh, Jesus. Because that was the last one we did, wasn't it? It was Space Truckers.
It was good. We started that on a bit of a high.
And then by the end of it, yes.
And here we are.
And in a surprising quasi-return to the show, the guitar-shredding, falafel-eating, squeaky chicken connoisseur himself, it's my pal Tom.
Oh.
Yes, quasi-return because we did record one with him, but we were in eight separate time zones simultaneously, and we had to seal it in concrete and dump it in the North Sea.
Thanks for having me back.
It's good. No, well, because you suggested this film, we thought you have to come on and talk about it. But before we get
you
into
were responsible for this.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Well, I didn't make it, but yeah.
I think you also suggested, what was it? Starboy? Starboy, running and jumping. Starboy. Was he called Starboy?
Stargrove.
Stargrove, yeah. Whatever that was called.
I come in peace.
With
Gene, I talked about before.
Gene Simmons as his with the stabbing nail.
Yeah, never too young to die.
Too young to not die.
Some convoluted.
Never do a die if you're young. But yeah, that was also Tom's suggestion, and that was a banger as well. So the man has pedigree.
That was good.
But before we get into that, housekeeping, if you want to keep up to date with all the upcoming film choices and that, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you have a pet mountain lion that does absolutely fuck all, and you want to recommend a film to us, you can email us at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. Right then, so we've gone from space, and then this week's film, we're in the rural backwaters of Texas, question mark?
Yeah, I think it's Texas, yeah.
Goldcrest.
As we broach. ...1990s The Final Alliance, which I have never even heard of. And I thought, there must be a massive swathe of David Hasselhoffs shit, a whole creek of this stuff out there, because I assume this was filmed over the course of a weekend.
And what a weekend it was. It had everything in it, didn't it? And more.
I've got so many questions about this. I mean, the film raises so many questions anyway, just in its plot and everything. It's just like, well, the biggest question I had, and the one that kept me awake at night, was why David Hasselhoffs made it. Because it's like 1990. And he obviously this is post Knight Rider, but then kind of pre.
So at his peak, really.
But yeah, he was massive. That was when he was massive in Germany and playing like the Berlin Wall and all that.
And I figured out defeated communism single-handedly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just the year before.
I was looking at the his life, his timeline sort of thing.
His life and times.
And like Baywatch had run for one season and then it got cancelled. It ran for one season in 1989, and then it got cancelled. And then Hoff single-handedly bankrolled it to be brought back in 1991. So I'm wondering whether 1990 he was like, right, I'm just going to do any old crap that I can.
I'll just churn out any old nonsense to fund my red trunks on the beach fantasies.
Yeah.
That's dedication to a cause, though. I wouldn't. But there again, it became huge, didn't it? Baywatch, because then we got Baywatch Nights where he was fighting vampires and stuff, surfing vampires. That genuinely happens in one of them. I'm sure it does.
Okay.
Like one of the later nights, like normally it's normal Baywatch, but it's all down the docks. Stuff happens, but then I'm sure as it kept going on and like Buffy got popular and shit like that, I'm sure they started doing weird crossover things where Hasselhoff had to like fight zombies and yeah, I'm sure.
Scuba. I think Baywatch Nights was just like he met a couple of prostitutes and like in a Saturday afternoon kind of way.
I thought it at least had to be, like solving crimes adjacent to water sort of thing. But yeah,
like the deep. Yeah. But James, have you got a synopsis for this? Do I need to crank up the machine?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Wow, you had to really hang on to your seats there. That is the Quixotic Scenario Almanac of Benevento. Yes, it's gone with a Mediterranean theme.
As befitting the Hoff.
And you two have been designated its hard senior administrative troopers of the Inner Hebrides. So it's all over the geography today. And it said Final Alliance 1990. Oh, by the way, disclosure for this one, there's a bit where I can tell Katie's added it, like added an element of it. And I wonder if you can tell which bit that is. Healy Final is an isolated escrow rancher who finds herself in a vortex of spreadsheets, to-do lists, and a pushy mum Samantha, all while big city rich folk are foreclosing on her aunt's laundrette. As events ensue, Keely meets Leonard Alliance, a gold prospector who has 2 phones, but never really says why. Things heat up when there's a whale in the river, and the couple must set aside their differences. Will they really live in a really quiet place with fresh air, nature, and a farm with horses to ride? Ask again later. I mean, the ending is pretty similar.
Yeah.
I'll mind you, there's not much of that ranch left.
How big was her aunt's laundrette that it took several big city people to foreclose on it? Showed a lot of people a lot of money for that.
It's one of those wholesome laundrettes that has a inexplicably large fan base in
like
the
that
local
huge
town.
one in everything everywhere all at once. The actual much worse synopsis for 1990s The Final Alliance. A drifter and his pet puma stand up against a motorcycle gang in a small American town. Now, you might think that sounds terrible, but you'd be wrong, because this is a tremendous film.
Okay, it's got no alliances in it, and none of them are final. So what's that all about? Or is the alliances...
That's one of the questions.
Yeah, lot of questions. That's one. That's top of the list. What is this?
The alliance of the townsfolk rising up against Sheriff Whistler and the albino that he's employed.
Yeah, well, I wondered as soon as I asked the question, is it the bond between him and the world's oldest cat?
I don't think that's the same cat.
It must be, because it's like it flashback looks at its face, it shares its dreams, they have a common bond. Stranger things have happened.
Now you've said that, I'm like, is that the same cat? No, that's like a tabby cat, and that's like a mountain lion.
Surely the same thing when they're in kitten form. Anyway, I'm going with the fact that this cat is about
Why
49.
was he transporting a dangerous wild animal with his family?
I mean, they didn't care to mention that or anything else other than
he's
that they
a
were
maverick.
being
I
chased.
still don't understand why his family got killed. Like it didn't make sense.
It does mention, but we'll get to that.
It's okay.
Hang in there for hot plot details, everyone.
Because it does jump about a bit. We open I will say as well, there is some tremendous music throughout.
Oh yeah. What genre did you think this was?
I would say ambient human league at times.
Big Cat World Electronica, I've gone for.
There you go.
It's got screams in it, yowls of big cats.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That one sound effect that they use whenever the cat comes on screen.
That one.
But they also use that for the scenes where his sister's getting brutalized by the bikers. It's the same sound effect.
Mm.
And then,
it's just a guy with
into the score as well.
It's a leitmotif for passion. His passion.
I mean, he gets over the death of a lot of things very quickly.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Including all the people
what was it, Chad?
Chad?
Burkina Faso? All the places that he's been stationed as the Marines and this weird mercenary group that he's been contracted to. There's a lot of details in this. I also like that this was brought to me on YouTube by Jesus Wept Movies 2. Thank you for your service. I could have also watched in the side panel Bring Him Back Dead, Ape Island, all in caps, and Apocalypse Pompeii.
All sound tremendous.
All worthy contenders.
Bring Him Back Dead sounds confusing.
Yeah.
Because that's not what you say, is it? Like,
no.
Bring him back to me alive. Not like, fuck it, kill him. Why bring him back? Just leave him. As long as he's dead. Like, bring me a hand or something.
Unless you want a corpse for like some...
Oh, he could be like a robot or a cyborg.
I hope so. I didn't look at that, but the thumbnail for Apocalypse Pompeii had the Cristo Redentor in it, and I don't know why. That was.
I was going to imagine it was Frankie Howard in. Stop it. Like a nice sort of synth country thing going on as a truck's driving along.
Yeah, nice.
And in this truck, we're introduced to Will Colton.
Yeah.
With his cowboy hat, leather
Crocodile
jacket.
Dundee.
Looking very much like Walker, Texas Ranger. surprised he didn't have like stars and stripes cowboy boots on.
Yeah, that would have very, very much fitted the theme. He goes into Goldcrest, which has a population of 3,000. And that's not much. That's like a small village, really. And that has in it a store, a bank, at least one bar, a whole red light district, and a thriving explosion factory.
Yeah.
An airport as well.
And an airport.
And an
as part of that
airport.
as well.
And not like a little tiny airport. Like full jumbo jets are landing on that thing. The only airport with a fucking cattle grid. Yeah. He drives in and he's got a cat with a mountain lion, cougar, bobcat. I don't know what the difference is between the two.
I think it's we've covered this as part of Nightmare Barn. Those are all essentially the same.
The same
things.
animal, right? Which is like his pet and only
Counselor?
friend. Yeah, because he tells it.
And
everything.
colleague.
I'm assuming they go to the AGM together. You know, just him and the cat. Right. Are you bringing biscuits this time, Mr. Muffins? No. Yeah. And they're driving into Goldcrest up to this beat up old house. In the middle of nowhere. He
says,
out.
"Don't go far, Felix," and it rapidly emerges that Felix does whatever what Felix thinks is necessary.
Felix goes in and out of rooms at will. That's all Felix does.
It's to nuzzle the wheel of an abandoned motorbike, and I was like, I like Felix. I'm sold on this film.
If Felix did something actually useful in this film, it would have been like Oscar worthy. But he does fuck all. He goes
All
from
the
room to
time.
room and then just gets told to fuck off constantly by Colton. Like,
All the time, Colton's like, "Felix, do this," and then there is a cut to Felix because they're not allowed that close to one another.
there is a good bit when he's getting in the car later, and it is clearly a stuffed cat on the passenger seat.
He always like goes to pat it as well when he is in shot with it, a bit like Jim from
Jim and
Friday Night
Wilson.
Dinners.
But he arrives at this house and it is all beat up to fuck. There is some great graffiti in there. Don't know if you got all that.
Yes, I didn't get all of it, but yeah.
I got rock and roll and Alice Cooper rules.
And anarchism, the three genders right there on the page.
Just anarchism, not is good or yay anarchism, just as a concept, question mark. And he finds a picture. Because you assume then that this is his house, and he picks a picture up off the mantelpiece, and I think he says like Jane or something. I couldn't tell you. His family are inconsequential; they're all dead. Spoilers.
Oh yeah, it just gives an immediate flashback, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he walks into every room and just imagines it how it was.
Which doesn't look that much better than it is now, to be fair.
It was a maximalist design when they owned the house properly. Yeah, stuff everywhere.
As he's stomping about, a local hoodlum comes in. And we know he's a hoodlum because he's got has he got like a band T-shirt on? But
I think it's a Metallica, but it's like a really ripped band
so
shirt.
they didn't have to pay licensing.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Get out of my house. This is my house now." And I was like, "You live here? What happened?"
This guy pulls like a flick knife on him as well, doesn't he?
Right. I will notice that Colton's like dealing with aggression technique is just to ask questions back. Like, that's all he does a lot of the way through it. They go,
passive aggression.
"Who do you think you are?" And he goes, "Who am I?" Stuff like that. And it's like, what? Like, did you write his script on the back of a fag packet? It's terrible. But anyway,
it goes into Hoffs' acting style. He never really gets that flustered like during the whole film. He's kind of. It's like how he always is in like Baywatch and Knight Rider or whatever, where he's just like playing it cool, but it just comes across as sort of arrogant and slightly irritating.
And also a little bit like out of kilter with events, really, isn't it?
It's just like this film ramps up in the second half, doesn't it? Like it goes from some mild karate to rocket launchers and shit. It's he comes at him, he gently beats him up. Like,
hey, close the door at the end of it. So.
I think does he stab him in the hand with his own flick knife?
Yeah, something like that. And he's got his hand out, and you can see that he's got, I think it's like the Vipers tattoo.
The Vipers, which are the bike gang, because there's a thing that says Vipers spray painted on the wall as well. Yeah. Why would you do
and then
that?
Felix strolls in after this, and is like, so where's the dreamies, dickhead? It's like, where were you? Where were you, Felix?
I've had to do a shit and bury it. Cat stuff, innit? I go and find a child's sandpit. Yeah. It makes no sense. Like he throws the knife at the Vipers sign and he sticks in, and you go, "Yeah, Colton's here and he's going to sort out the bad guys.
Well, it doesn't even make sense then because he goes into a fixing it up montage. So he's just caused damage, hasn't he? He's got to undo.
He fixes it up to then smash it all in about an hour's time anyway.
Well, there's still like graffiti on the walls as well. He's not gone for interior design.
Yeah. And he's smashing through windows. And you see the bits where the graffiti was on the walls, he's just torn the wallpaper.
Perfect.
It's exactly how Jane liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does a fixing it up montage and the cat's helping and they have a paint fight. None of that happens, but it would have been better.
Yeah.
And then he...
with Felix.
Yeah. He's put like a paint roller on the cat's tail. And,
that would be good. Yeah.
And is this where we're introduced to Ghost?
No, he goes horse shopping.
With it, that's a lot of nuts. This guy.
Yeah. He shouts for Felix and seemingly forgot that he's locked him in the car already. This mannequin of a cat. And he goes to buy a horse, and they're all spooked for some reason. And the old man says that it used to be mountain lions, but they exterminated all of those because ranchers are assholes, apparently.
Yeah.
I've
been watching Yellowstone. It's true. They are all assholes.
Oh, right. Okay. And the horses, they don't respond well to him. And he goes, I know what you're smelling. It's me. Which is my favourite line from the film.
I said, I'm going to use that as a chat line, I think, in the future. Right. When Harvey leaves, I'll be like, down the Roxy. Like,
when?
I know what. Yeah, it's only a matter of time, isn't it? Till the spell wears off.
I don't know. Maybe the horses hate him because he keeps grabbing them by the face.
It's just me.
Just a suggestion.
It's just me. And the guy's like, "Hey, mister, that horse really liked," because it's so much ADR in this. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I think the only person whose voice is actually like legit is Hasselhoffs, and everyone else's is dubbed over, which makes it could have been in German.
It's so badly done as well. Like all the fight scenes, if you notice, whenever he punches someone, they say, like that. You know,
if I had time,
noises.
If I had time, I was gonna like cut some of the yells out because there's some great ones. The guy on the motorbike, and when he throws that guy off like the scaffolding, he just sounds like annoyed. Falls off.
It is annoying. This dude is all like, you know what happened to the old Colton place, sort of thing. He just doesn't want to know. He's like, I don't care what happened there.
Do you want to sell me this horse or not? And the guy's like, all right, I'm just making
conversation.
You know, what's the weather like? Come far? Where are you going on your holidays? It's just small talk, isn't it? Colton has no time. Colton does big talk. That's it.
Yeah.
But then he goes, here's some money. Deliver the horse to my house. That wasn't part of the deal.
Do they do that? Ride the horse to you and then ride the own horse?
No, I think they put it in a horse chariot. What do they call it? Horse box.
Horse chariot.
Horse chariot.
Yes, please. I want that service. Okay.
You pull the horse in the chariot. It's like in Russia. You pull horse.
And then we're introduced to punks in the street, hassling women and nearly mugging them, but not quite.
Just going right. I will say there is some tremendous, like, just background dialogue in any of these punk scenes.
Well, they're always going, woo, woo, woo,
oh, no.
woo.
When they're lightly sexual assaulting this girl in the shop, like they've just fill 5 minutes. So they're just going, hey, oh, yeah, you like it, don't you? And she's just like going, stop it, please, stop it. But all the time he comes into the shop, there's like a weird Barbie pink Challenge Annika style Range Rover-y thing outside, Jeep.
Yeah.
Which
very
I thought,
nice.
Why is that there? And two hoodlums come in and start mildly harassing
this big fatal deviation where the lads go into the supermarket and start fucking around with crisp and dry. Yeah, it's just nonsense.
But they're gently pulling and pulling her and he goes in, walks past an old man and the preacher, who was just sitting outside on the stoop drinking. And he goes in. Doesn't hear all this going on. Just, I'm going to get my bread and my beer and my spray can.
Preacher's like, hello, who are you? Why are you here? All the time, this is going on, this nattering in the background.
If I can hear it, then Colton can. So why isn't he doing anything about it?
And then the preacher, like, is stood in front of this like directly in front of the counter, and he's like, "You don't understand what this town is like. Don't cause any trouble or anything. We're fine." And then one of them sprays beer in his face, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Woo! It's low level harassing, isn't it? That
it is. And then the owner, Carrie, so I had closed captions on throughout this, and it consistently called her Gary, which I thought was brilliant. Gary pulls out a shotgun, and they have to pay for the beer and leave. And then she has tense words with Colton.
Colton also is carrying a shooter as well, because that's what scares the vicar.
Yeah, he doesn't use it. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do shit in this.
He kind of does. He runs around looking hunky, and he parachutes out of a plane in a bit.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
he does that later. But in this scene, he just doesn't do anything.
No,
and
he
then
was
the cat
perfect.
walks in even later. And it's like,
He was
well, where were
perfectly
you?
okay with that girl being assaulted, as long as he could get like some beer and like some pepperamis. It's the confusing moral code of Will Coulter.
It is a jack of all trades shop, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but he chases that they leave. Oh, we're going to get you later. Which they do about 5 times. They get him later, and every time it ends in tears. They
have a sexually tense conversation, though, don't they? So after they've chased off the punks, he's like, "Oh well, you'll see me again, Carrie." And she's like, "I never told you your name." He's like, "Well, it's there on the till." And I thought, yeah, it was there on the till, because I noticed that. And I thought that's going to be really confusing for the shop assistant, whose name is not Carrie, who's using the till most of the time.
Maybe
But
they're all called Carrie.
You run your shop your own way.
Like those restaurants that are in the dark, and they're only staffed by blind people. This is like, you can only work there if you're called Carrie. Not the cooking. The cooking's done by sighted people, but like the waiters and stuff are all blind. I'm sure that's a thing. Feels like it's a thing. Yeah, apparently it heightens your senses of taste.
Okay, I don't live in Manchester anymore. So sounds.
I do it in the kitchen sometimes. I just close my eyes.
Just close your eyes
while I'm having a pot noodle. Pretend I'm being posh, and
then put your hands in the cutlery drawer and hope you don't spike yourself. Anyway, he heads out, and there's the metalhead from before who was in his house with the flick knife. He turned up with a mate now
on a motorbike.
Get in. Yeah. So how does he respond to this?
He goes, "Do you want a beer?" Like, he's cool. Or an alcoholic, isn't it? That's the 2 options available. And he gives the other guy's like, "I'll have a beer." And Johnny Stabhand is like, "I don't want your beer." And he pulls out, I'm assuming, one of those misting sprays for when it's hot, and sprays it in his eyes. And he goes, "Oh, the mild inconvenience of it all."
The other one decides to glass him as well with the beer that he's just given him.
Yeah, that was quite good. And I think he gently kicks him in the ribs, and he falls over. 2 other hoodlums, just everyone in this town just riding around on hogs all day, just causing trouble. And then at night,
part of bike, because I watched quite a lot of biker films from the 80s and 90s, and they've all got like the same sort of stuff happens in them, like the same tropes. And one of them is that there's always at least one guy, and it's the same for like whenever they have like bikers in TV shows or whatever. There's always one guy who just doesn't look like the sort of clean cut extra that they've just got in, and he's like, all right, yeah, don't shave today, like, come in on set. And they cut the sleeves off his jacket, and
it was a
bit of oil on his face.
I think he must be the guy who puts money into the film or something. Yes, you can be a biker. Oh, thank you.
You can be the one with the nunchucks, which one of them inexplicably has.
Yeah, pick on someone your own size, and he does some sweet nunchuck moves. And then Hoff shoots the chain out from in between them, which I was like, "That's cool." Like, he's
a very good shot. He's a really good shot in this film.
Yeah,
and that man's just left holding 2 halves,
2 sticks,
the nun and the chuck,
cool.
individually, and looks embarrassed, and they just go home.
They just go, oh man, those nunchucks were 2 days away from retirement. But Broken Arm leaves his bike.
Yeah,
and as Carrie and I think the shop assistant and the vicar come over, he's bought some sugar, and he starts putting 1 lump or 2. And I was like, someone's learned that that's how you mess up bikes, isn't it? Because it's just a weird thing to do.
Maybe
I've heard of that before, putting
sugar. I know, but why? It seems petty. Just take his bike. You've got a big truck there. Just steal it, rather than just put sugar. It just felt like someone's learned that.
Nah, stop doing that. It's not nice, sort of thing. And Carrie's undressing him with her eyes. Yeah. She's obviously spit with him. And then I've put that the feel of Goldcrest changes very sharply in the evening when the shops close and all the hookers come out. And the bikers.
It's like in those films where like they press a button and all the counters turn over, and it's because there's hey baby, you looking for a fun time? Let's go party. And this sort of seedy. Well, there's only one bar because it's the same pool table.
The Red Rooster Bar.
Yes, which is owned by Red.
And has Red Rooster paraphernalia all about it.
probably
like
a real place,
Nando's,
isn't
really.
It's, it's very clean though, and it's really like nice inside. I got all these really nice long sort of floor to ceiling pink drapes, and the, like nice sort of wood paneling, and this like perfect pristine pool table.
Yeah, like
I
that
was
had a
watching
whole
it and I
beer.
was thinking it really reminds me of like the beef eater where my parents took me when I got my A-level result. I expected it to be ordering like plate of scampi and chips and a pint of.
Red's just there behind one of those huge hot lamps with loads of mashed potato and stuff. 4
Just
slices of
looked
beef.
too nice. Again, there's like a trope of a biker film. They've always got to have the shitty bar where, like, you know, they've come into the bikes and come into town and they've trashed the place. Like the bar used to be nice, but then it's like now really bad.
But
It's not-
think
it's
about
not-
it. Red was a former biker and got out, so maybe they respect him, or maybe it's just lazy. But yeah, we're introduced to Ghost, who is, I would say, like head of the biker gang.
I've put non-union Andy Warhol.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing pool with goons.
Ferret is called one of them. One of them's called Ferret.
I thought his name was Ferret, yeah, because it said Terry, and then I was like, oh, he did say Terry. And they're talking about the new, you know, the incomer. They want to find out whether he's got any friends, and they're obsessed with this. Like, who's he with? Like, you can obviously see he walks on his own all the time. Lives in a
Him and
house
his
with just a
cat. Yeah, him and his cat that he talks to, puts little hats on. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we need to send him a welcome party." Fine, okay, whatever. So the next day, Colton's busy breaking in a horse that hates him, and Carrie comes to Carrie rocks up in this sporty purple open top Jeep, which is very. I was going to put it's very 80s. I suppose it's shot in the 80s, but this is 1990 now. But I mean,
depending on when it came out in 1990. If it's anything beyond sort of March, it could have been filmed in 1990.
Yeah, pretty much. It probably was.
She shows up and she's like, "Who are you?" And she says, "Like, do you think I came out here for this?" And I was like, "But what? Have you missed? Have you skipped a page of dialogue? What's happened here?"
Yeah, she seems to have come along to explain that all the trash from around Goldcrest send there because law enforcement don't do anything, and normal people work at an airport for the sheriff. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you know
when you go into town and everyone tells you that they work at an airport for the sheriff, and you're like, right, yeah, that's a normal setup.
Oh yeah, the sheriff's airport. Yeah, every town's got one.
Yeah, she has. I thought that she has no. There's very flimsy premise for her to go out all the way to his house. And it's just like to just say like, you know.
Thanks for the other day when you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
When you stared at me.
When Carrie 2 was getting molested, and you were just like, "Sorry, have you got any whole milk?" Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, it's right there next to the scouring pads because that's how we organise things around here.
And then, oh mate, Ghost.
She's like, I can ride a horse, so she's on the horse now.
Yeah,
horse is like, when was this a thing?
Once or twice.
But yeah, bad slags are coming.
Oh, but Ghost in his little sidecar is adorable.
Yes. You only see it then, don't you? You never see it.
Oh no, he's bombing about it all the time. He says, "Let's get out of here," like 4 times while he's in his little sidecar.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, yes, we've got John Saxon. You know, he's going to be good. Like, lend a little bit of legitimacy to the film, a bit more legitimacy. But he can't ride a motorbike. Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll just stick him in a sidecar.
No, those contacts must have been playing merry hell with his vision, wasn't it?
I kept thinking he had his eyes closed. In the scenes,
I think it was so painful that he must have been.
Probably. But yeah, they show up and they surround Will and like start beating him up. He beats them back up. And it's all a bit kind of, but then
they bodily leap at him one at a time.
Well, he punches someone, he gently kicks someone in the ribs, and then one guy jumps and like they dirty dancing over the top of him, like. And then someone pulls a gun on Carrie and he's like, "I'll shoot her." Ghost comes over and he's like, "I don't know who you are, but you're a real dead ringer full of. Now get out of my town."
I think this fight though sort of totally. Encapsulates how incompetent the gang is, the Vipers are, because they pull up and they start shooting Carrie and
Will.
Will.
We'll call him Hoff, it's fine.
Will Hoff. I quite like that. Yeah.
Skittering around, like dancing away from the bullet. And then they just attack them with knives. So rather than like running up to him and shooting them.
I don't think
They're
they
like,
wanted to kill them.
We're going to
I think
shoot
they
you
wanted
from a distance, but when we get up close, we're going to like just
But
punch
we'll lose the element of surprise we would have got by just creeping up on you.
you. Yeah.
But then it ends up with Hoff and Ghost in a sort of Mexican standoff with each other. And this is where we get the best line in the film.
Oh, go on.
Hoff says, "I've been shot before and I survived, but you won't." And I was like, "Yay! That's terrible."
They put that in the trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, "This is gonna be good," because that's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a badass line, but and I survived, but you won't. It's just like it's so not badass. It's kind of flimsy.
He says that they're all deputies and that he owes them an apology. And then he says, "I want to see this son of a bitch drink puke cocktail. An eye for an eye, a puke for a puke." And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
A guy has a bottle of puke. They carry that around with them.
No. That's ammonia. I was.
Okay.
Oh.
I watched it again. I paused it. You can just see on the bottle it's ammonia, but that's not explained at all. You think that he's just carrying a bottle of puke around to make
because I thought they were going to
that must
make
have
him
been
drink
hard
sick.
work to get that, together. But need a funnel at least. But
well, turns out they can't make petrol bombs for shit either. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he's like, I can't just pour it into his mouth because that would be uncouth. I need a funnel, my lad. So, and then like Hoff goes, "There's one in the kitchen."
Yeah, it's next to the cat.
So he goes into the bathroom cabinet where the cat lives, doesn't see the cat. The cat does some mild creeping, and then he looks down and sees bones. We get the "Row" sound effect. And this guy, instead of just leaving, defenestrates himself through a window. Another window broken in the Colton household. There's a big cat in there. The cat comes out and does fuck all, and then gets sent back in again.
And Colton grabs a gun during all of this commotion, and then Carrie asks him who he is after the standoff kind of like culminates. He's like,
they leave. Let's get out of here. Yeah.
Oh, he's got a big cat. Let's get out of here. And then Gary, he says, "I lived in this house when you did the 60-yard dash." And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
What does that mean? Oh my God, have you been hit? Have you got concussion?
He explains he's Will Colton. He was the kid that lived here when there was a family living here. And she says, "But you're dead." And he's like, "I'm not, though, am I? Clearly." And that's that.
Yeah, that's
preparing outwork
the
defense
son
montage. Yeah.
Oh,
and
I
when
thought
he was looking,
the dad of the family.
No.
Wow,
so
that changes everything.
My theory about the cat as well is strengthened by the fact that when he looks at Ghost, he has a sudden flashback to him holding the cat. And
but I assume
it
Ghost
pans
just
to the cat as though it's one and the same animal. It's like the origin story of them all. It's in that one sequence.
No, I'm still refusing. I can put up with a lot of stuff, but that cat being...
I think it is a kitten that he had that Ghost brutally killed that we didn't see in shown on screen.
Thankfully.
But then...
if you don't see it, then... I still think my theory holds water, but if it does, then it is a cat that is about 40 years old, and I looked that up, and it means that it's in his 90s, I think.
That's why it does fuck all.
He
literally is an old man, comes out, goes, "Hey, get off my lawn," and then goes back in. Like, the one time it could do something cool, it fails miserably. So he goes, best prepare for them coming back then. And we get a sort of A-Team style montage of him digging a small pit and putting a Catherine wheel in it.
Oh, they are dangerous, aren't they?
Well, if you don't
especially
nail them
when
down
they,
properly,
become unhinged from the
Well, if you don't put them on central, because then they just go. Whoa. But he digs a trench. He puts like a tripwire out, and then these I guess they're supposed to be explosives, but they literally look like ant traps, like the weird little things. But he puts them all around the thing, and he sits in the window with his AR-15 automatic rifle that he's got from somewhere.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from? Well, it's probably available.
America, isn't it? It's Texas.
Yeah.
Go to the shop.
There's a watchman being set to watch over his house. He's got
ferret.
a copy of is that ferret?
That's
he's got
ferret.
a copy of the Beano
ferret,
or something
watch
like that.
That house, and if he escapes, I'll break your neck. He says, Ghost, which is job satisfaction, I guess. But he's sat at this window. He's got a binocular and he's looking at him. What wily old Hoff's done is he's put like a hat on a balloon and put it in the window. And that's enough to fool this guy. While he goes off into town, And this is where like
it's like that as well.
It is when he comes back.
Thing.
It's literally like a penny for the guy style situation. It's bollocks.
But this watchman must have seen him actually just get off, jump in his car, and go away.
No, because he rode the horse.
There's not two of them.
Stealth horse.
Oh, did he? Right,
And
okay.
horses don't make any noise when they run.
No, silent. Yeah. The women in the shop, meanwhile, are crooning over him, and then some locals show up, and they're not so sure. It's like the Alamo, one says. Oh, what? When Eric Estrada blew up all those chupacabras? Well, I guess a little.
Yeah. That's Carrie's cousin. Who only has one.
Her name.
No, I don't think she has two lines in the film. It's like the Alamo, and I'm going to use the bathroom now. And that's it. That's all she says.
I think she introduces her a bit later on, and closed caption said that it was Chef. And I was like, I'm just writing that down then. Hey, children.
Yeah, but then unfortunately, Ghost and his boys show up, and like everyone's all the day people are in this shop, because I'm assuming it's a town of, it's like 27 days a night sort of thing. At night,
that's why it could be in a Hallmark universe. Everyone shops there.
Yeah, but all the motorbike people, they must be knackered.
Oh, right, I see what you mean, yeah.
Copious amounts of cocaine off a frisbee later, aren't they, though? So, yeah.
Yeah, helps. There's a big exposition here. Turns out her father was killed, and he was put on trial for the murder, was Ghost, but the jury let him off with the sob story. And then he's like, why do you think your store never gets robbed, or your car never gets touched, or you never get raped? Because I like you. And she did get robbed and very nearly assaulted the other day, though.
Yeah, I mean, my staff are getting assaulted. Is that not like one and the same?
Yeah.
Also, put that on a card, isn't it? Like Valentine's Day card. I've never stole your house. I've never burnt your car. I've never sexually assaulted you. How's about a trip up the Nando's? Yeah, it's
the red.
She has enough of this and pulls out a shotgun. This bloody shotgun she's got. And he goes, "You won't kill me because you can't. Basically, you're not a killer." And she isn't. He snatches the gun off her and like, "Tell me who this mysteriously, ruggedly handsome man is." And she goes, "I don't know who he is." And like, he goes, "I'll count to 3." And then on 3, does he pull the trigger or does he just go boo at her?
No, I think he just does.
Right, because she comes right because then like they leave and she runs out with the shotgun again. She goes, "It's loaded now." So if he had have put, it's weird. I just felt an unnecessary thing that I focused on for no reason.
Yeah.
But
he's outside, isn't he? Fucking around with the motorbikes again.
I don't know if you know this, motorbike people, but always put something on your motorbike seat, because if you put any kind of fire on it, the whole thing will explode.
And the ADR gang member responses at this point are amazing.
Fucking hell.
Oh man, what's the deal here? I could have listened to that all day. It's so brainless.
If they just did a CD of that, I would probably I listen to number stations. Yeah. And then, right, it's gone from like mild beating up in the thingy. Hoff is now opening fire on a city street on these people, right? It's just no mucking about. I thought, this is escalated.
It's another thing with biker films. If you see a row of motorbikes, then they're either all going to get knocked over like domino effect, or they're all going to get set on fire. And,
I kind of felt bad for the environment, the amount of things that had to suffer explosions in this film. For this, they exploded a plane. No need. Get a toy one. Like, it just wasn't worth it.
I mean, that's the thing with this. It had budget, didn't it? I mean, that
a lot of stuff explodes.
Yeah, that will mark it down in my estimation, because
in the scene, what I have dubbed Carnage at Junior Kickstart. Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's probably only got as much budget as like maybe 3 episodes of MacGyver.
Yeah.
Stuck together. Half a 3 weeks worth of MacGyvers.
I think explosive stuff was like really cheap in the late 80s, early 90s, because everyone did exploding stuff, didn't they?
All the cars, they just did that anyway. You flip them over and it's just a death trap. Don't need to buy them. But yeah, he rides back home, and Ghost also gets back there at the same time and berates the watchman for being fooled by reading the Beano. It's just, it's
as he goes, no, it's a dummy. Like, Hoff comes back in, puts his hat on and sits down. It was like, it was me all along. So now who's the liar, Ghost? I was like, this isn't really a thing, is it? This is weird. They leave again.
There's a lot of like to and fro in this, isn't there? He's managed to get back there on horseback at the same time that he's got there by motorbike.
Maybe
question mark.
maybe he's gone across fields and the roads are like round. I don't know.
And they're like, fuck it, take the hill sort of thing. And he opens fire and they run away because they didn't realize that
he
he had a
knocks
gun.
another window out at this point. You know,
Well,
that
why
putty's
not?
not even sealed dry in there. And he's whapping it out again. Opens fire and then they all run off. And then he goes to this bar and he sat in this bar.
Oh, yeah, the bar.
Carrie and her friend her cousin show up. Carrie's cousin needs a dump, goes to the toilet. And Carrie's like, we're having a town meeting tomorrow to do something about this. And he's like, sweet. And then Carrie's cousin comes back. It's like, I washed my hands. And then they leave. That's it. That's that whole bit. And I was like,
Can we
okay.
talk about the fact that this is an open mic night and it's got it sounds like mid-70s Rick Wakeman is on in the background. It is intense. Don't know who they've booked for that, but there's just like a guy with like a fender in the background. But there's a shortcut as well to a racist sheriff. I don't know if he is racist. I don't know this because closed caption kept saying foreigner at times. I don't know if it was just
he did.
I don't know if he said that or whether
this is Sheriff Whistler, who is the sheriff of the town, has one actual real deputy and is the owner of the airport, and he's on the phone to someone and he literally says, "Give me someone who speaks English, goddamn foreigners." And I was like,
right, yeah.
Okay. And then he's like, yeah, bring all the bad things on the plane and it's more money now. And I was like,
I want the money and the plane to arrive at the same time. Like, this is like a 12-year-old's interpretation of what bad people are like, isn't it?
Yes.
But he's racist, so...
Yeah.
Someone doing an international drug and arms deal who's never really done one before or seen one before.
Yeah, bring me 10 drugs. Is that a lot of drugs? I don't know.
Too many drugs. All the drugs you have, please. Oh, no, that's too many. Yeah. And so people are flying in like a day's time. It feels like it happens. No, maybe 2 days because they've got to get it on first, haven't they?
Yeah.
Also, when they're in the shop before, Ghost says, maybe you didn't know who he was because you were too busy humping him. Which made me chuckle as well. But yeah, back to the bar. And Red starts racking up the pool table in real time. We see him taking out each fucking ball and putting it on the table. I'm gotta hit that 90-minute runtime. And then Hoff gets up, like puts money on the table, challenge him to a game.
Yeah.
Like Red breaks off, and then they start chatting about like.
Well, he immediately tells him that he essentially killed his parents, and then they get into a fight. So it's like, what are you putting money down on the table for? How did you want this to go?
Also, $1 a pint.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
Well, whatever Americans drink, it's not pints because it's like them weird. But yeah, he also he breaks a pool cue with his forearm, which I don't think's possible.
No.
Unless it was sort of unscrewed a bit in the middle.
No.
Or he hits him with the thin end, maybe, rather than the fat end.
It was half unscrewed and like.
Possibly. But yeah, they have a fight.
It was the moment I saw that, I thought, oh, we're going to get a pool fight, aren't we? I mean, I wasn't disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I just knew it was going to happen.
As I've discovered watching films over the weekend, every American bar is one push away from a full-scale rumble happening at any. It must be a nightmare. Like you're just walking back to your table, trying not to touch anyone in case, the next minute you're sliding down the bar face first.
This is John Tapper would have stuff to say about this. You shouldn't have the pool table so close to the bar. And you shouldn't
have a pool table.
It should be $1 a pint.
Tapper hates pool tables. And then like Red leaves. Like I missed what happened here because I looked away for a second, and the next minute everything's on fire.
He does a little bit of a run while people throw themselves one at a time at Colton, and the landlord jumps into a car, and then when he comes out looking for him, he tries to drive him down. So he does a cool roll to get out of the way of the car, and then just pops him with a gun straight through the window. So the car goes up a ramp that just happened to be there, goes upside down, immediately just sets on fire and explodes. And all the people in the background are like, ooh, ah. It is a wild week in Goldcrest, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, every night they put the night ramps out specifically for this situation.
Night ramp, yeah.
He leaves. The actual real deputy phones up Sheriff Whistler and is like, Red's dead.
Redemption.
Hey, like, did you find out who it was? No, but the locals seem to know it was self-defense.
First, he describes it as an accident. He's like, "Oh, it's an accident," and the sheriff's like, "Well, was there a perp?" And he was like, "Yes, it was self-defense." What?
Not an accident, then, is it?
It's a self-defense accident. Yes.
It's weird, and like this sheriff deputy guy, I don't understand what his point is because he doesn't really do anything. He's not funny.
No.
The sort of the real deputy or the sheriff.
Yeah, no, not the sheriff. The actual deputy who's too busy with his computers later.
He comes in later when the townspeople are uprising. You do see him with them.
Right,
so
okay.
I'm wondering whether they cut a scene
with him opening up the shotgun cabinet and them all grabbing a gun. And...
It feels like it's needing something like that, doesn't it? But yeah, you're right. He should be a bit silly, shouldn't he? But he's not really. It's not comic relief or anything. And then I think they just scrape out the ashes of a man from this car. It's very dark stuff from this Canyonero that's spontaneously combusted.
Red was played by Ben Kingsley in Sexy Beast as well.
Carl Johnson, apparently.
Oh.
I looked familiar, but I couldn't think what from. He probably is. Maybe we'll find out. But is this when Carrie shows up at his house and they do a sex?
Oh no, that's after the chase. That's well forward. Ghost comes in and says that he wants to waste Colton now, and the sheriff is like, "Oh no, can't do that." And we've got to be more cautious. We've got a delicate operation. There's drugs landing at the same time as a plane. Lots of complicated
and some
moving
money.
pieces here. And the guys in the background are like, "Oh, he's big and he moves like a lizard."
Oh, is this where everyone gets a line?
Yeah.
Anyone who donated $50 gets a line in the film. I want to murder the shit. Yeah, there's lots of suspicious-looking men who they're in a Village People tribute act at the weekend, sort of thing. And yeah, he says, "No, we have to be delicate. We'll figure something out."
The sheriff then comes out with, he's very like, you touch a nerve with him and you know about it because he's then like, "I'll blow up the whole world. Iranians, fair price, what?" And you're like, calm down, dude. What is wrong with you?
That's what cocaine will do to you. Yeah.
He is a good villain because I just didn't know what he was going to say or do next. But then he says, if he comes after you or me, then he's got to be a loony, hasn't he? And then he laughs, and everyone starts laughing. Everybody laugh, yeah. It's funny.
And so is this when Hoff breaks in to the sheriff airport?
Yeah,
right.
so there's a town hall meeting. There's a town hall meeting going on, and that's interspersed with Colton. At first, he has bad dreams about his whole family being killed.
Oh, the Hasselhoff wanking scene.
You could call it that, yeah. It's
Mate,
very dubious.
He's laying on the floor under a cover going, ugh, for a long time.
And his cat is next to him going, and then he sort of wakes up and the cat sort of responds to his prompts, and it's like it shares his dreams and his hopes and fears and nightmares. Yeah.
But his wanking dream was about his family being murdered.
I think that card does a flip, so it's like he's been reminded by the flipping of the
yes,
car,
but also Red was one of the guys that killed them,
yes.
Because we get this long panning shot of them all revving their engines, and it reminded me of that bit in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves where they kill Brian Blessed right near the start, and it pans along them all. Just because I watched that at the weekend. It's a long film. I forgot how long it was. It's good though.
Colton gets up then and decides that he's going to infiltrate a shipping company.
Yeah, he's got the airport.
How does he do this?
He just cuts a hole in the fence like any normal boy. And then he clotheslines someone off a motorbike. Yes. I'm assuming leaves him in the nude, steals all his gear, and then just rides around. Like this airport, there's no like passes or security checkpoints or anything. Everyone's just razzing about on bikes. Feels very unprofessional.
This shipping company then. So it's an old hangar. It has a plane in it, about 50 bikes. It's got a refectory. It's got a weapons storeroom with a box enticingly labelled grenade launcher in big letters on it. Later on, it's got a gym because there's a locker room. What facilities does this place not have?
I think that locker room was like in a sports centre nearby, and we need somewhere to put her. Yeah, there is a fucking canteen in there because they all start doing coke in the canteen later on. Hey, baby, do some. Yeah.
I just looked up about Carl Johnson. Apparently
Okay.
he's a Welsh actor, done loads of pretty big stuff. The only role that I recognise him from though is he was PC Bob Walker in Hot Fuzz.
Oh.
You know, the one who's sort of like really, really thick accent.
Yarp.
Oh, yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah.
I
Apparently.
suppose so. That one.
Yeah.
Oh, I would not have put those two together.
Well, unless IMDb's got them.
And I'm
I
in
can
charge of
believe
facts
it.
here, and I didn't get that.
It would be about timeline, possibly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go.
There you go.
Bob Walker and Saxon.
Mm.
That's his dog, wasn't it? Anyway, so yeah, he breaks into this thing, and it's what
Everyone's
is he
doing
looking?
coke.
Yeah, hey everybody, calm down. But instead of just having all the coke in a big pile, they put it all in little bags for everyone. Like you get one bag each, and
Like
that's
little
it.
salt sachets,
Yeah.
like you might have out on a table somewhere in a
That's
restaurant.
probably what they were.
Well, I don't want to speculate. Yeah, so he ignores all of that, and then he goes up to the weapons storeroom, fills a big bag full of goodies in there. So you know bad shit's going to go down soon. So I was hopeful for that. And then he goes up to the officers, and he immediately finds a file on a desk, which has like a letterhead and everything. It's very properly all done. And the man who was handing out the salt sachets down below has forgot that he needs something from the office, bursts in, and he's like, you shouldn't be up here. And then they have a tumble outside, and he falls over a railing.
Yep.
Check.
And he's like, yeah, well, but it's not even that. It's more just, like he's annoyed that he's like, I only went in there to get my asthma inhaler, and now I'm fucking down here. This is not good. Yeah, no.
Also, he reminded me of the man who installs the security things in Black Books. With his long hair, with the Subbuteo player in it.
The little man in it. Little man in his hair. At the town hall meeting, she's held on as long as she could, waiting for more people to show up. There's one guy taking up 3 chairs because he's just sat like that. And I was like,
that's fine because there's a lot of empty chairs. I counted, and there's literally 17 people there, including her, which represents 0.6% of the town.
But we don't know how many of the town had night people. And
they don't live there. She disclosed that they just come into Goldcrest, so they're not registered.
What, every night?
Yes.
No, like reverse milkman.
Lawless hub for lawlessness. Isn't it?
Oh, it's but she's held off this meeting for as long as she can, and then she's like, right, I best start the meeting. But no, before that, well, they do like she does some shite, doesn't she? But this has gone on far too long and stuff. But then a man on a motorbike crashes through the door and nearly falls off the bike.
Yeah, he does.
He wobbles somewhat chronic. He razzes it round, puts like
they weren't confident about razzing that
licks
around
his finger
chin.
and puts it in the punch bowl, like sort of stuff. Just general annoyances. Squeezes all the crisps, so it's just dust.
And Ghost walks in, and Carrie says, "We're fed up of you, Ghost. We're fed up of you dealing drugs, smuggling, rape, murder, mayhem, possession of shurikens, pandering, grand theft person."
See,
what was that other one?
I was like, I'd have started with murder and worked down myself, but priorities in it, I guess, because the only drugs in town.
Aggressive panhandling. That was another one.
That's a good one, yes, from the Ordnance Law of California. And he's like, this is boring the fuck out of me now. Let's just start killing people because we've got half an hour left.
Yeah, at this point, it is like 30 minutes to go, and you know stuff's going to go down.
You know my stuff's going to go down because Hasselhoff jumps out from behind a curtain with an Uzi and just opens fire on a room. He don't care if you're an innocent or a guilty. It's all the same in Hasselhoff's book.
Like a Shakespearean villain, I put.
He stands so weird firing that like Uzi. It's like instead of looking cool and doing it like that, he stands like a little army man. It's so awful.
He's really strange proportions for like he's not an archetypal 80s action hero.
No,
it just doesn't look like. And I always saw that in Baywatch as well. But and I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with that. But he's kind of got skinny arms.
Yeah,
like a big body.
Yeah,
I feel like he's a small man, and they were trying to disguise the fact that he was a small man.
He's compact.
He's tall, but he's kind of like
stocky,
broad, but skinny arms. Like it's odd proportions.
It's like someone's pushed pipe cleaners into a tin of corned beef. Yeah, he is but again, also wearing skin tight leather is not going to help in that department. Least of all, really. For doing roly polies and stuff as well, it's impractical.
This scene as well was, I think, when they started they start putting the generic black motorcycle helmets on all
Yeah.
of the henchmen, so that you can't tell that he's just killing the same person over and over again.
Yes.
Because, up until that point, the henchmen weren't fucked at all about whether or not they wore helmets.
Oh, but there was a complete rogues gallery of people. We've missed Bulldog at some point. And I think there was one called... we've had done Ferret, there was Bulldog, and there was some Chuck, possibly. But at this point, it just gets very putties from Power Rangers. It's just,
Yeah.
Because he just starts mowing people down now, like...
He cuts the lights and then he heads out round back to the car, but he's been wounded, I think, in the arm or something. And I like this bit because... What?
It can't be the arm because he's got a bulletproof vest on.
I think
No,
he's
he
like
does. He
clutching
gets
his
shot
arm.
in the arm first.
Oh, okay, and then
with the
I mean,
Right.
it does heal within the space of a night, but yeah.
That's
there's
the
a proper
power of sex.
There's a proper Dreamer Kid style song that starts up at this point, and I suggested that the title for it is when it's 1983 and the triads are in a street fight again by the local TV store, because it's very like synth heavy sort of stuff. He's in a van. He's in his pickup.
Carrie! Yeah, Carrie goes, "Let me drive. You're hit." And then she drives very slowly away.
Well, it's not her car, so she doesn't know how to work the clutch in that.
It's an American car. I doubt it has a clutch.
No,
They're all
no,
mostly automatics. But it's this huge battle tank anyway, isn't it? This thing. It's huge. Compensating. And they're driving along, and she's like, he's talking to her for a bit. And then she goes, "No, don't die." Oh, he's dead. I wonder what kissing a dead body's like.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, that's
No, she kisses him, and then he goes, "Ha ha, it was a ruse, and now we're married."
There's a chase scene where he's firing like grenade launchers and all sorts outside of it, and there's like bikes scattered everywhere. And then there's a road is under construction at one point, and they all respect that and stop.
She goes, "I can't stop the car," and he goes, "I don't matter." All the bike people are like, "Wait, no, this is where we draw the line." There's also a good bit where Ghost is riding in his little sidecar, and he goes, "Attack!" And then like guys peel off around him. Oh, that was nice as well.
That was good, yeah.
But Hasselhoff leaning out the side of a car, just blindly firing a gun, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That's where he gets shot, though. But he gets shot in the torso, and then you think he's dead, but oh no, he's not. But yeah,
he just tricked her into kissing him.
They both trick one another, really. Again, very Shakespearean.
Who's the worst though? The person tricking you or the person kissing a corpse?
She's revealed stuff about herself now.
It's a grey area, isn't it?
She has a frankly unhinged libido throughout this film, which I'm not criticizing.
You live in Goldcrest, mate. You try not being raped every day.
This is where they get the cop
also,
from.
the fact that Ghost says that, does that imply that, like, if you're living in Goldcrest, 50-50 chance every day that you're going to get, like...
That is a trope of these biker films again. Like, I was waiting for the gratuitous rape or sexual assault scene.
He did start cutting her clothes off.
It didn't do that. To its credit, we don't get a rape scene.
We
get a near bit where I think they hold it down and then they like cut a tank top.
Clothes, yeah.
And it's like, don't like where this is going. But they don't do anything. There's no gratuitous like
but that is like the biker film bingo.
I mean, we get a man like yeeted off a gantry. Yep, check.
Yeah. Bikes exploding. Check.
And at this point, we get a cop inputting his report into an ancient computer. Even by 1990, it looked like something that they'd borrowed from a community
like
college.
Like an Apple II, weren't it? Yeah.
And Sheriff Whistler comes into the office. Only time that he's in that office, because the rest of the time he's at the gym that's bolted onto that complex. It's suddenly stormy outside, which it never was before. And that's...
Don't worry about it. It's symbolism.
Yeah. Pathetic fallacy, I think it's called, isn't it? When the weather is affected by the tone of the narrative, whatever. Anyway.
I don't think they were thinking that.
Nobody ever does. That's why it's a thing. And he's like, we can't track him because of the storm. And he's like, boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know how things are done here in Texas. Piece of shit computer. I'm a handle the law. And then walks up.
Oh, I thought he was here.
It doesn't take much for him to just fly off the handle, does it?
But then, like, the deputy guy goes, "Oh, FBI or something," and prints something out, and I was like, "What's that? What's that he's printed out?"
Well, the file on screen, it says, William Philip Colton, Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, dishonorably discharged for assaulting a superior officer, joined a mercenary group in 1980. I think it says that he's in Chad in 1982, whoever Chad is. He doesn't ever appear again. Central America, 1983, possibly involved in a coup attempt in Sudan, 1984. How had the tides of history changed? Subject, one-man army. And he's like, oh, better get on the phone to the FBI.
Right, okay. I wondered what was going on with that because it didn't make any sense, and I wasn't really paying attention. I was waiting.
Don't
for
know what the FBI said to him. Yeah, don't know why.
Yeah, we'll be there. What at the airport? Okay, yeah. Why not?
A bit about the FBI. I was just by the time they turned up, I was
very slightly.
After all the excitement of the explosions, it was like I was spent.
I didn't write it down, and then later on the FBI turned up, and I was like,
where have they come from?
Yeah.
Go back to Colton's shack, and she's dressing his wound.
By an open fire.
Yep, and then they were sex on each other while the cat watches on.
Well, this is the thing. He recounts, again, the murder of his entire family and the fact that he's lived off-grid since childhood. And she says, so how long is it since you kissed a woman?
Read the room, Carrie.
Well, he's not saying no, and that sweet sax solo didn't come from nowhere.
Someone's getting the hole tonight. I don't care what's going on. But yeah, they do some PG approved kissing, and then it cuts to the next morning.
It's not explicit, is it? No.
You sound disappointed.
Well, there's a sexually liberated morning. He's sat in a chair watching her with a gun in his hand, which is apparently a comforting thing to wake up to.
Texas, mate.
And then he says, "Gary,
Texas alarm clock.
Gary, I'm sure they know that we're here." And then, sure enough, Felix starts yowling about the approaching riders.
What is it, Felix? What is it, boy? Little Timmy's trapped down the well. It's fucking. Like Ghost sends someone out again. And instead, fucking Felix the cat has got. I've had enough of this. He's just given up on life. Like last night was the final straw. I thought we shared everything. Colton, yeah.
Oh, I love that as a subtext.
So he just starts running towards this, and like Colton's like, "Stop, wait, come back." But
starts
Felix
running after it, slow motion with his shirt undone as well. Baywatch
style. That's where he got the idea from. No, it's not. Ghost jumps over. Lynx, fucking Felix the cat jumps over this low branch, and I'm like, yes, finally, he's gonna do. Oh, he's dead.
Just leaves a scratch down this man's torso as well.
And his red pen's busted his pocket, and like he's like, he shoots him anyway. And then do they all leave again? Or sorry. This is where the big fight happens, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the standoff that then makes everything happen. Yeah.
So he runs back into the house. They both get guns. They knock all the windows out because fuck it. Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen's crying somewhere. And then they start pew, 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 firing at each other, and it's kind of dumb because they're a lot better shots than them. Despite he's
rigged up this. It turns out now that he's rigged up this dynamite about the property, and he has to shoot some tiny bullseyes.
That's what the little ant traps were. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's putting all these ant traps out, which it turns out are like detonators. Or like, is that one of them things at the fair? If you shoot them all over, it explodes.
It does in this house.
Like throughout the film, he just does these incredible, bullseyes from half a mile distant. And then he shoots the tiny little chain on the horse's paddock.
That is true, yeah. And he shot through the nunchucks as well.
Oh yeah, because he's like, because that horse is like
a Riviera kid. Yeah.
And then he shoots the chain off the paddock, and apparently that has enough force to actually blow the gate on the side.
There's
and
a
the
storm.
Horse leaps to freedom.
Go horse, you're free now. Thanks for the 2 days I owned you, and that part in the plot you played ? So they're thinking him, and Ghost's like, right, start throwing these. And he hands out what I thought were Molotov cocktails. And I was like, here we go. This is going to get exciting. Nah, it's just bottles with a rag in them. Because he throws one through and it doesn't smash. And what does he put it out with, boys and girls? A pillow.
A fire retardant pillow, yeah.
He puts it out with a pillow. I didn't know it was fire retardant. You didn't know that.
Another one starts a fire somewhere upstairs that gets unnoticed. Another man gets his hand shot off and then becomes consumed by fire.
Again, yeah, big fan of man being on fire.
He gets shotgunned out of the property.
How do we get rid of this flaming man? shoot him out the window. Good idea.
Another
brilliant.
one lobs another one at the roof, so that's now on fire. Whole place is in flames. And then Carrie asks him if he loves her. Not now, woman.
Again! God.
What is wrong with you? Stop.
Telling you about my dead sister, and you're like, well, that's not doing it for me.
He said, read the room. The room is now literally on fire.
How will we know if Alice Cooper rules anymore? Anarchy? Yeah, how do they just run away at this point?
So they're about to, they're watching this place go up in proper flames at this point, and then the townspeople come out.
Oh,
with the
yeah,
cops,
that's it. Everyone comes out.
and the gang like
pitchforks
awkwardly backs away into the tree line again, as
Yep.
though they were never there.
Let's go, boys, I think he says, and they disappear.
So
Now-
they don't turn up cosplaying as 19th century peasants.
Yeah.
Literally got like
Yeah.
pitchforks and wearing
Like the
dungarees
two-pronged haystack thing. Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
bits of old chairs and stuff like that. Really strange.
Someone's got a thresher. Yeah, it's. But then, we're barreling towards the end now, folks. We're down to the final showdown where they.
Yeah, they've gone back to the hangar. Sheriff Whistler tells Ghost that Carrie ought to be dealt with a long time ago, so let's kidnap her now. She's in the middle of the peasantry. But yeah, whatever. They immediately go in and get her.
But
Colton,
right at this point, I was like, why have they separated?
don't know.
Because he's
It's because Colton needs a bit of time to bury Felix in the paddock and put a Christian cross on top of it. Because they shared their spirituality.
That cat was baptized, mate. That cat could accept Eucharist, did its catechism and everything. Right? You don't know.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, but you thought did he go, I don't know if I love you? And she was like, well, I'm going. Bury your cat on your own, you prick. And then
If you can't handle me at my worst in the middle of a
he's
firestorm.
buried the cat. Goodbye, old friend, he says. And then the fucking
Preacher turns up.
preacher turns up and goes, they've kidnapped. I was like, you people are terrible.
Yeah, she's
How
been
many-
locked up in a locker room in the local gym that's part of the
It
complex.
smells of socks and boys' bits. There's an old man walking around with his cock and balls out.
Is it what?
There's a cutscene there where they completely shoehorned in. There was it was obviously footage from the earlier scene with the sheriff when all the rest of the gang members are there. Because suddenly you see the sheriff and Ghost wearing the same clothes that they were wearing in the earlier scene. And
Well, a preacher is only going to wear a dog collar and black, aren't they?
and then Ghost goes back to wearing the red shirt that he was wearing previously. So it's incredibly obvious they've just taken some old
Beautiful.
footage from that other scene and
He needed to change a shirt.
So they
Put some
while this was
ADR
going on.
over it.
They can say, "Oh, go and get Carrie, go and kidnap her." Okay,
Change your shirt back to what it was, because frankly, it looked terrible.
But
And then it gets all scrappy challenge all of a
When
sudden.
when they stormed the bad guys, though, there was I'd say 100 odd people there.
Yeah.
There was a fair old wedge of extras. So how did they manage to kidnap her? Did they all just go, well, we did our bit. Bye, Carrie. Make your own way home, I guess.
It's seen missing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the preacher's like, I want to help out this time. I'm not going to be yeller. I'm going to help you by making an armored car, which is
I'm
made
gonna do
primarily out of plywood and hope.
I'm going to do what Jesus would do. Scrap heap challenge the fuck out of this.
I loved it. I loved that they dedicated so much time to this, as though they had time.
Yeah, mate. I mean,
'Cause
them
they
spot welds are
assemble
going
a
to be
team.
tight, yeah.
There's good men working on this.
A-team
Welding
could do
pieces
it.
of MDF.
The A-team could build a cabbage cannon in an afternoon. Yeah, I think it's his fucking
Oh, is it?
battle jeep thing, and they just put an armored shell over the top of it, like Killdozer.
you keep referring to it as he says get some scrap metal, weld it on. But it's obviously plywood or cardboard or something.
Yeah.
Brown.
And he's like, what about the windows? He's like, don't worry about that. No one will think of shooting through there.
Leave a hole big enough for a bullet to get through. About chest height. Okay. Sure they won't come back to bite me later on? Nah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. They've done all this. He's tooled up to the max. He's going in. But he said, wait for my signal and then just drive in and fuck about.
Yeah, what was the plan there? Don't know. Plane comes in at the explosion factory. Some Iranians walk out with a briefcase. They look at two boxes and agree wholeheartedly to the deal. They've transferred money to a secret Swiss bank account, and then there's a change in plan, and Ghost and Whistler are now going to leave with them to Iran now. So
He says, paradise, here we come. And I was like, Iran in 1990. Ooh.
Is it? Yeah, because it's in the middle of a fucking war with Iraq, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
and then we'll go in and liberate him. It's fine.
Oh, the mercenaries are coming in. I wonder who that is, Colton.
Even in Iran, I can't escape you, Colton.
Anyway, they're fine with that, so not a problem.
He goes and finds Carrie very easily.
Very easily.
Yeah. But if I was going to put a woman some men's locker room, they'd never think to look for that. It's men's, isn't it?
Yeah.
On his way in, he kills the same two guys 3 times. They were both wearing, at this point, like they got done away with their individual cut off.
Yeah, everyone's just wearing like black bodysuits.
They're all just wearing the same leather jackets with the same studs and like the same motorbike helmet. So they can barely get away with killing the same 2 actors over and over.
But one of them, when he dies, he falls onto the roof of a camper van, which is down below for some reason.
It's also an Airbnb, this airport as well. You can stay in Sheriff Whistler's sex caravan for €20 a night. So yeah, he rescues her. They go like through the cargo bay, and he's like, bombs with a radio transmitter. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, I'll take ages to put all this on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, bit weird, isn't it? Whistler and Ghost are on the plane. And then they're like, oh, right, let's go and get Gary then. Yeah, she needs to come with us. She's an insurance
Go
policy.
and get your hostess.
She's gone. Sound the alarm. There's an alarm for when Gary's missing. And then the armored car smashes through the fence. Do you think it will be strong enough, is what they were saying when they were scrap heaping it? It's just a compound fence. There's nothing special about it. It could have driven through that anyway. And then
probably
the team on the ground just immediately just popped the guy that's in it. So it did nothing. It was a terrible plan.
No, it was a terrible plan. I said, why not make the hole smaller so bullets can't go through them? Why not make it a mesh so the bullets can't go through, but you can still see? Why put literally a letterbox-sized hole with bullets here, please, written on it? Preacher's dead. Preacher's dead. He died, and he's like, I never did anything good in my life, but today I made Jesus proud, or something. I don't know. He's fucking dead.
Right. He also says, Gary, I never told you that I saw Whistler kill your daddy. And she's like, well, that's no fucking use to me now, is it? Because you're dying. And then he dies in a swooning fashion.
And then when he's dead, she kisses him.
Oh, does she? Fucking hell.
No, she doesn't, but I bet she wanted to, because he's a man of the cloth and he's chased. Chased round and round. So they shoot. Like, there's a whole gunfire thing going on.
The FBI swoop in.
Hoffs shooting everyone. The FBI swoop in and like nick everyone. But like Carrie with her gun is allowed to walk around. Like they know that she's not an active threat. And they're on this plane. The plane pulls off, and they're like, they run for the plane, get on the plane in like the run-up cargo bay bit. Like
it was a good scene,
any Fast and Furious film. And they're like, we've done it. I'm getting too old for this shit, I think he says as well, which is always a good tick. And then they're like, right, that's it. We've done it. Like, but also, as a last evil knobhead thing, see this? It's a radio transmitter. I'm going to explode all of that stuff back there. And even Ghost, like, fucking hell, mate. like that's a bit more, like they're FBI agents down there. Like they will come for you.
He says, if all the police are dead, then nobody's going to look for us anymore. It's like, what? It's not remotely what happened. They will look for you more.
We still saw a plane take off.
They've gone.
As soon as anything gets off the floor, it disappears in my eyes. People jumping. Where'd they go? Oh, it's back. No, it's dumb. But it doesn't matter because he pulls this thing out, and then Hoff pops his head up. He's dressed as a ninja now.
He does pop up as well.
He literally pops him, hello, from behind the box, and he's like, but where's the explosives? And he's like, well, it's down there. And he goes, no, it isn't. He goes, where is it? I'm not telling you. I'm fucking hell, here we are again. Old quizzical Hoff. Because it's somewhere on this plane, but he's already pressed the timer for it to go off. And so
Hoff didn't need to be quite so smug in this scene. Like, I sort of got the feeling that the director was sort of turning him to be like, played down the smugness, but he couldn't help it.
He doesn't have to be on the plane.
No! He really didn't. He could have been on the ground going, we need to get everyone out of here because there could be some more explosives here. I couldn't check the entire facility. I couldn't check the canteen or the reading nook or like... But no, he's like, no, I've got to go and rub it in their faces. So he's like, yeah, enjoy exploding fuckos. Steals the only parachute that's conveniently nearby. But I was like, how high did you have to be
I was wondering this.
jumping out of a plane for a
The
parachute?
plane is still taking off.
That's what I thought.
I
Right.
mean, really, what should have happened is that he just immediately gets sucked into the jet of that, like
Oh, just
a flock of pigeons, you know.
plapped into a building with a high roof.
Yeah, scraped
But no.
off by Gary.
But no, he used the plywood. But no, he lands when he's taking his thing off on the runway. The plane explodes, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, the cops and Carrie race to meet him on the tarmac, and yeah, we did the thing.
That's
I
it.
don't know why the police are like, "Who is this man?" Like,
Yeah.
is
Why is there a plane just exploded?
yeah,
Although it was in the air, so I don't know what it is.
They just take him in immediately. Like, you just jumped out of a plane that's just exploded.
Yeah.
You don't know who the fuck you are.
Oh, there was bad people on it. Was there? Well, we don't know now because they're all dead, aren't they, mate? Also, apparently, you're wanted for trying to start a military coup. Like,
yeah.
there's
Oh, don't
so-
worry, Sudan will work itself out. Yeah,
Final Alliance 2, where it's just him in some black site being tortured somewhere.
yeah,
But yeah, that was the end of it.
The
I
end.
will say, like, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
yeah. Kept me entertained. Yeah, it covered all bases. You know, people getting chucked off gantry. There was a cat just fooling around half the time. That kept me entertained.
Why couldn't it have been a dog? Like, a dog
Because
would have
it's
made
got to be
sense.
its own thing, isn't it? I mean, there's like 100
Or a
different films
hawk.
like this.
A
Yeah,
Mighty
that'd
Hawk
be good.
would have been good.
Anything, a platypus, a duck-billed
Merlin, take his
platypus.
eyes. That'd have been good.
Oh no! Look, it's beaks on me. You know, lots of fun.
They got
Endless fun.
poisonous spines.
I do wonder if this was maybe going to be like the initial treatment for this would have been somebody trying to kickstart like a series. Like maybe right, it's going to be David Hasselhoffs, and he's a loner, like ex-mercenary with a shady past, wandering around these shitty towns in Texas, solving crimes with his pet bobcat. You know what I mean? Like you know,
Like the littlest hobo.
yeah, littlest hobo, whatever, MacGyver, whatever. You know.
Walker, Texas Ranger, Highlander. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was going to be a series, you know. And
I will say,
maybe
if
was
you,
like, no, I want to carry on doing running around
Baywatch.
the beach and all
I was going to say, if you're going to make it a series, don't call the first one the final, because it sends a mixed signal to people.
That's how we ended up with Final Destination 19 or whatever
Oh.
on now, though. Isn't it?
Yeah. Your scores then, James.
I'm gonna go. It's not gold territory, as I said before. I've put 3 silver slow motion cats.
Oh,
And it can thank me for it.
Oh, okay. Tom.
I've already caught me on the hop, and I forgot that.
All right, well, I'll circle back round to you. I'm going to give it 4 silver exploding motorbikes.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Sounds fair.
I'll give it 8 platinum cut off jean jackets out on tape.
Platinum.
Yeah, it's a new score. We've never gone that high before. I'm going to go for like obsidian and stuff later.
And you know, we'd had this scoring convention for maybe about a year after just chaos
but
before.
none of it matters because Katie always fucks it up
It doesn't
anyway.
It doesn't matter at all.
All right, moving on.
That would have been perfect music if it had yowling over the top of it. That was Final Alliance 1990, the same year as Bloodfist 2, The Alienator, and Empire of the Dark. All solid podcast
Wow,
episodes in our
that
back
is-
catalogue.
This is a strong year.
It is, yeah. This
The
now
Oscars was a
contributes to
nightmare.
it. Final Alliance. The Oscars, bloody hell. The budget for this I don't have because it was a TV movie.
Best cat in a motion picture. Oh, I hope it's Larry. Whatever it's called.
I was trying to find out what it was called. It probably was called Felix or something, but yeah. It was directed by Mario De Leo. More credits as a cinematographer than a director, but he did do standard TV directing work for Baywatch, so there's a link there. Xena and Babylon 5 to thoroughly round off his 90s experience. This is his only TV movie credit that I could find, which is very interesting. So I feel like maybe this was like Hasselhoff-led or something. It was written by John Eubank and Harold Goldstein, the latter of which has had a long-running career churning out things like this and Legend of the Mummy, 1998, which I thought was going to be a knockoff of the Mummy, but that was the year after, so got in a little bit early there. He drifted into Hallmark-adjacent Christmas films such as The Business of Christmas 2, Christmas Masterpiece, and Blackjack Christmas.
Oh, with hookers.
All of which look like they're not Hallmark, but they're sort of in that category. They look a little bit more diversely cast, so I don't know if they're sort of like Netflix or something like that. But yeah,
I mean, Hallmark's getting in on the diversity angle now, anyway. So, but yeah.
Anyway, Will Colton, David Hasselhoff. I don't need to explain him to you, but for $50,000 to $100,000, he will come round to your house, according to the AAE Speakers Bureau.
How much do I have to pay not to come round my house?
Well, he's
Smash the windows in.
He's obsessed with coming round to your house, actually, because in 2021, the Knight Rider car kit was put up for auction for $250,000, and Hasselhoff said for the right price, he would personally deliver it himself, and it raised about $500,000 in the end. So I don't know if he did, but essentially it's just a regular car that lights up. It's got loads of LEDs in it.
He just shows up reeking of gin, rolling around the floor, demanding a burger. Yeah, it's...
Yowling.
Well, he used to go on tour with it when he was playing these huge arenas in Germany and Austria and stuff like that. He used to bring it out on stage.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tragic.
Well, this is like 1990 or 89 or whatever, you know.
Come on, jump in my car. Please don't, Michael. Yeah, that'd be good. If it came with Mr. Feeney inside it doing the voice, whenever you went out anywhere, that'd be good. You need eggs today, Joseph. Cheers, Mr. Feeney.
Yeah, you could probably get it to do that now. Carrie, Jeannie Moore, just 13 film credits up until about 1995, and they're all very sort of sad titles like Hooker Number 5 sort of thing. So I feel very, very sad for her, but she gave it up in 95, so I feel like she probably just typecast a lot.
She gave it a good old whack.
Yeah.
You see her down the Weatherspoons like that. I was in a film with Hasselhoff.
I was Hot Babe in that film. Yeah.
He kissed me.
Sheriff Whistler Bo Hopkins. I've not done a lot on this, but 11% of his 131 appearances on IMDb are as sheriffs. Sheriff something.
Really?
Yeah. It's either that or like Lieutenant Colonel something or other.
So he's always playing like a authority person.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
That's typecasting.
The Preacher, Len
shows
Sparrowhawk.
Shows up with the hat on. Oh, I guess you're a sheriff then.
Yeah, I brought my own sheriff hat. The Preacher was Len Sparrowhawk, as best I can tell, because there's no pictures on IMDb. But he was South African. His best known film was a Burt Lancaster film, Zulu Dawn, but his less known films include American Ninja 2, The Confrontation, 1987, and my favourite title of all time, Mr. Deathman, 1983.
Yes! Have we done an American?
Will be that guy. Oh God, what's his name? Those films are incredible. You know, it's the brightly coloured pictures. We've
done an American Ninja, haven't
Bring
we?
me your death. I don't know about that. It looks like a blaxploitation film from just looking at the poster for it. I don't know. Anyway, finally, John Saxon as Ghost, as we know. Enter the Dragon, Nightmare on Elm Street, but less known for Jonathan of the Bears, 1995. Similar concept, but with an Italian bear.
What?
Yeah.
Jonathan the bear's Italian, it's constantly cupping itself.
It's got interesting backstory to it. It's filmed in Russia, but by Italians on a live army base.
Doing this all the time. Doesn't work in an audio medium.
In 1995, so obviously post-Soviet, a Russian army base. The troops had no concept of like keeping a perimeter, so they were never checked going in and out. There was a bear involved. It's a similar thing of a man avenging his family, but instead of a cat, it's now a bear. This is what I was trying to tell you.
Oh, no, I'm on board. That sounds great.
Yeah. Get the platypus is what I say. And finally, he appeared in Beyond the Stars, 1980, which is a Roger Corman Star Wars knockoff that I've never heard of, but it looks like a delight.
Get it on the list.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's got aliens with like an extra eye up above. And, it's like got people cast as like Han Solo, but they're called like something different, like Ham Double, you know, that sort of thing.
Instead of lightsabers, they've got just like knives. Space knives.
It's got James Cameron actually was like an intern or something and developed like all the stuff. So it actually looks reasonably good, but it's on
add it to the list.
Discount. But 1980. And that's your James facts. They flip over and burst into flames.
They will want. again, with the reviews for this, there's a lot of this is the best film I've ever seen. And I don't want that. That's not fun. So I've gone with one that actually genuinely seems to be someone who appreciates the oeuvre of this. Merkelkranz 7, who I think we've had before. Yeah.
Angela Merkelkranz.
There we go. What we have here is entertainment of the cliched bad acting variety, enhanced by the apparent sincerity of all those involved. The Stranger's revenge story is so familiar, you could use a checklist to make certain of all the cliches are covered.
And
we did. Then there is the wild card of Felix the Cat, Hasselhoffs' pet cougar, which snarls a lot of the bad guys. Speaking of the bad guys, John Saxon should have won an Oscar for his Richard Lynch imitation as the albino leader of the Vipers. Now throw in Bo Hopkins as the sheriff, and you have perfect cast for B-movie predictability. Bar fight? Check. Female intimidation? Check. Hero destroys motorcycles? Check. Explosions? Check. Originality 0? Check. Despite all of the above, The Final Alliance is marvellously entertaining because of its sincere ineptness. And the second half rivals even Frank Stallone's masterpieces of good-bad for sheer off-the-rails insanity. And I think Angela Merkelkranz has hit the nail perfectly on the head with that, because it is by the book.
It does have that thing of the second half is a lot better. It's just explosions, and there's one bit where there's a moat that he has to cross, and that's full of explosions. And it's great stuff.
Yeah, like I said, you get explosions at a junior Kickstart tournament. It's just people on bikes exploding constantly for a full 5 minutes. It's great. And then the 1 out of 10, because people have no taste. Ronaldo Matlin, a genuine C movie. C as in crap. Harsh. Ooh. Ronaldo. Hasselhoff is the hero battling an MC gang in a small Texas community. He dresses as a ninja in the final showdown because that is so cool. And Jeannie Moore gives one of the worst performances in recent memory. Ridiculous piece of trash made in the same mentality as a bunch of war-loving kids with a video camera. I don't see you making shit, Maitland.
Ronaldo.
Anything. Yeah, Ronaldo. You might be good at football. There's a football man called Ronaldo.
There's 2.
Is there? The clone.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's the Ronaldo, isn't there? There's Cristiano Ronaldo. Is
that not the same person? I genuinely have no idea. I don't know.
I know shit about football, and I know that much.
Yeah, but you're like a sports guy, aren't you? Croquet, badminton, cricket on the green, stuff like that. That's you. That's it. In conclusion, that was 1990's The Final Alliance. Gentlemen, your favourite lines from the film?
I know what you're smelling. It's me.
I've been shot before, and I survived, but you won't.
The guy when he says about him moving like a lizard.
Yeah. Say goodbye, boys and girls.
Moves like a lizard.
Anyway, time to escape into a simpler time.